The jungle of Xytheron was alive with the sound of predators. In the twin moonlight, shadows danced between massive trees whose roots coiled like serpents. Bioluminescent fungi glowed faintly at the base of trunks, throwing eerie shapes across the thick undergrowth. The air smelled of iron and ozone. A storm had passed recently, leaving everything damp and heavy. Lyra moved carefully, clutching a broken spear in trembling hands. She was small compared to the towering trees, with skin marked in deep violet patterns that glimmered faintly when light caught them. Her species, the Kyreth, were not built for fighting. They were healers, singers, thinkers. But tonight none of that mattered. The beast was hunting her. She could hear it crashing through the foliage, its heavy steps crushing branches, its guttural growls reverberating like thunder. The devour, a predator feared even among warriors. Its head was a twisted crown of horns, its eyes burning amber, its mouth lined with jagged teeth meant to snap bone like dry twigs. Her village had sent scouts to gather herbs, but only Lyra had survived the ambush. She had fled into the jungle alone, running until her legs ached, until her breath burned. The others' screams still echoed in her ears. Now she stood trapped against the gnarled roots of a giant tree, the broken spear clutched in her hand like a child clinging to a toy. The beast's shadow loomed closer. She closed her eyes, whispering a soft prayer in her native tongue. Let it be quick. The ground trembled as the devour lunged. And then a sound split the air. Not a growl, not a roar, but something sharp, deafening. Bang! The beast howled, its cry echoing through the jungle. Lyra opened her eyes. Standing between her and death was a figure she had never seen before. Tall, broad-shouldered, encased in strange armor that gleamed silver beneath the moons. In his hands he carried a weapon unlike anything the Kyreth used. Long, metallic, glowing faintly along its barrel. Smoke curled from its end. The human. He turned his head just enough for her to see his face beneath a cracked helmet. His eyes were piercing, steady, but not cruel. "Stay down," he barked. His voice foreign yet understandable, thanks to the universal translators scattered across colonized worlds. Lyra dropped flat to the ground just as the devour lunged again. The human fired once more, the blast lighting up the jungle. The creature staggered but didn't fall. With a roar, it swung its clawed arm. The human dove aside, rolling across the dirt, and came up on one knee, weapon raised. The fight was chaos, a dance of survival. The devour lunged, snapping its jaws inches from his face, and the human slammed a blade into its side. Blood like molten fire spilled onto the ground, hissing where it touched roots. The smell was acrid, choking. Lyra's breath caught. She wanted to run, to flee into the jungle, but something rooted her in place. She couldn't leave him. Not when he had saved her life. Minutes stretched like hours. Finally, with a final crack of his weapon, the beast collapsed. Its body shuddered, twitched, then stilled, steam rising from its wounds. Silence returned to the jungle. The human lowered his weapon, chest heaving. For a moment, he simply stood there, watching the beast's body as though making sure it stayed down. Then he turned to her. "You all right?" he asked. She blinked, unable to form words. Her throat was dry, her heart still pounding. Finally she nodded. He offered a hand. She hesitated, then placed her slender, trembling fingers in his. His hand was rough, calloused, but warm. He pulled her gently to her feet. "Name's Cole," he said after a pause. "Sergeant Marcus Cole. Terran Expeditionary Corps." Lyra swallowed hard. I am Lyra. Of the Kyreth." Cole studied her a moment, then glanced at the jungle around them. This isn't safe. More of those things could be nearby. We need to move. The middle journey through the jungle. They walked in silence for a while, Cole leading with his weapon ready, Lyra trailing close behind. She kept glancing at him, at the strange armor that was scratched and scarred, at the weapon that had felled a monster her people feared for centuries. Finally, curiosity overcame fear. "You are not from here," she said softly. "No," he replied. "Came with a survey team. Crash landed 2 weeks ago. Been trying to find a way off this rock ever since." Lyra frowned. "Crash landed. You mean, you are stranded?" "Yeah," he muttered, kicking a branch aside. "Comms are fried. No way to signal for pickup. It's just me now." She hesitated. "Your people. Did they?" He didn't answer right away. His jaw tightened, his gaze fixed ahead. "They didn't make it." Lyra felt a pang of sorrow. She knew that grief. Her village had been slaughtered by the Drakvar earlier that day. She wanted to tell him, but the words lodged in her throat. The jungle seemed endless, full of whispers and distant roars. They made camp beneath the twisted canopy, where glowing fungi provided dim light. Cole set up a small fire, its flames flickering against his armor. Lyra sat across from him, knees drawn to her chest. He caught her staring at his weapon. "This." He lifted it slightly. "Plasma rifle. Standard issue back home." She tilted her head. "It spits fire." Cole chuckled faintly. "Something like that." Silence fell again, but it was softer this time. Not fear, but the strange quiet of two survivors who didn't yet know how to bridge the gulf between them. Finally Lyra spoke. "Why did you save me?" Cole looked at her, his expression unreadable. "Because you were there. And because no one deserves to die like that." Her chest tightened. Among her people, life was sacred, but strangers rarely risked themselves for others. His answer stirred something deep inside her. Rising tension, the hunt. Days passed. They traveled together, searching for safe ground. Cole protected Lyra from beasts, while she guided him to streams and plants that weren't poisonous. Slowly they began to trust each other. But the jungle was unforgiving. The Drakvar were not solitary. Scouts hunted in packs. One night, as the moons hung low, Lyra woke to the sound of snarls. The pack had found them. Cole cursed under his breath. "We can't outrun them." He readied his rifle, but Lyra grabbed his arm. "No, I know a place. Sacred ground. The beasts will not enter." "Lead the way," he said without hesitation. They ran through the darkness, the pack on their heels. Claws scraped bark, teeth snapped at shadows. Just as Lyra's legs threatened to give out, they burst into a clearing. At its center rose a massive stone monolith, covered in ancient carvings glowing faintly blue. The air was thick with energy, humming like a heartbeat. The Drakvar skidded to a halt at the clearing's edge, growling, pacing, but none dared to cross. Cole's eyes widened. "What the hell is this place?" Lyra placed a hand on the stone, her voice trembling with reverence. "The heart of Kyreth. Our ancestors said it was left by the first ones. A place of safety." The beasts circled the clearing but eventually melted back into the jungle, their snarls fading. For the first time in days, Lyra felt hope. The climax. The last stand. But safety was temporary. Days later, the pack returned, larger, led by a monstrous alpha with scars across its snout. This one did not fear the sacred ground. It entered the clearing, eyes glowing with hunger.